Hi there, I'm going to go over the this week's possible trades and stuff to watch. And the first things we're going to be watching are the earnings. And the three I'm watching is Bed Bath & Beyond, which is Wednesday after hours. And I'll be playing possibly playing the reaction to it on Thursday. And Pepsi, which is before open on Thursday. So we'll be playing the reaction on Thursday. And Costco is Thursday after hours, so that would be a Friday reaction play. Now, what I mean by reaction is I'm not going to be playing the earnings. I don't like playing earnings because you can get killed, and I prefer not to lose. I like to win. I don't like to lose, so I'm not gambling. I'm gonna wait and play the reaction. There's a higher probability of a win when you play the reaction than you do gambling, which is a 50-50, and I don't win. I want to know I'm gonna win. I know I can't always win, but I like to know that I'm gonna win. So we will wait for the reactions and not play the earnings. Now, I also want to mention that I do have a new Discord room, and we've got over 100 people in here in like about 48 hours. I'm very surprised at how many people have joined already, and I'm just overwhelmed by the amount of people, and thank you for everyone that's joined. And if you have not joined, you can go to the link in the description, which has the Discord link, and you can join our room. It's free, but the alerts aren't. And you can, when you join, you can look in the rules and frequently asked questions section, and you know more about it. So we do provide a lot of free stuff too. So we'll get back to the earnings plays, and we'll start with Costco. In Costco, it is this is the hourly on the left, and the daily on the right. And on the hourly, it's just chopping around. I mean, earnings plays, it's not going to do too much. It's just going to chop around, and I'd rather not play it until the reaction to earnings, because I'm not going to play in this chop fest. Others can, but I'm not going to. So like I said, it's just chopping around the 290 to 285. And on the daily, I mean, you can see it's just consolidating, and it's chopping right around the 20 EMA, which is the blue line. And it's, it almost tapped the 50 EMA, which is the orange line, and I'm not interested until the reaction. And so it's hard to say if the earnings are going to be good or bad. So I wait for the reaction and just know the levels. The high is 307, and there's a pivot point right in here at 280ish. So it could easily drop quite a bit, but I'm not going to speculate on how much it can drop or how much it can go up, but you can see on the weekly, I mean, it's just been ripping hardcore, and it's been bouncing off the 10 EMA, which is the red line, and the 20, which is the blue. So it's the MACD is crossing over on the weekly. So I mean, there's a chance it could drop, but with all the Costco stores opening up in China, well, I mean, the opening, I think the second one, they're going to open more probably. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they drop more news saying they're going to open more stores in China, with the overwhelming response that could just send the stock up substantially. So right now, just it's consolidating, not interested until the earnings play reaction, I mean. And the next one is Pepsi, which I like playing this one because it's very easy, and the premiums are cheap. And it's doing the same thing. It's chopping 136 to 134. I mean, I'm not interested in this chop fest. And it's chopping around the 20 EMA, which is the blue line. And we'll be playing the reaction to it. And, it's 139.18 is a high on the daily. I mean, on the weekly, it's, creating like a wedge. I mean, let's see, I can draw it. If you draw it, yeah. Probably draw it back here. No, let's get rid of that. Let's draw it right here. Yeah, that's better. Do it right off this high. I mean, it's got a wedge going. I mean, it could break the wedge, but it's all going to determine when what the earnings is, and the earnings is going to trump any technical analysis. So we're just waiting for the earnings to drop, and we'll play the reaction on it. And the next one, oops, we don't want the 3-minute, we want the daily. And we'll look at BBY, BBBY. It's 3 B's. I always think there's 2. And you know, the last week it's chopping around, you know, $10, $9.50. I mean, it's had a huge sell-off on the daily. I mean, it's gone from 19 to 7, pop up to the 100 EMA, which is the yellow line, and it rejected it, and now it's chopping around the 50, the 20, and the 10 EMA. All these, you get these 4 moving averages is real tight. That means it's getting ready to have a squeeze or make a big move to the downside. So I'd be watching that for a big move for earnings reaction. So we'll probably cover that before the earnings play. Yeah, $11. It gets over $11, we can go. I guess it's shaping out for a possible cup and handle right here. Possible. That's if it can get back up to this $11 level. It could pop up to the 12.66 possibly. But let's see what it looks like on the weekly. Yeah, the weekly's ugly. I mean, yeah, the weekly's really ugly. I mean, look at that, 488 and down to 7. It just keeps going down, just keeps getting clobbered. So not touching it until earnings comes out and see what the reaction's like and play the reaction. Now we're going to look at Disney. Now I'm watching this because it's got hourly, it's been downtrending, and it's been bouncing off the 200 EMA, which is the purple. Did not bounce up over the 50, almost close to the 100, drop, 100, drop, and the 20 and drop. So it's been just dropping for the last couple weeks, and the thing I'm interested in about it is that it's right at the 200 EMA on the daily, and it's got a head and shoulders right here. And even though it does have a small bullish divergence, I don't really care. The thing that intrigues me about this is the head and shoulders, and it's at the top. I mean, it's at the bottom of the gap up. So if it drops below this 129 and gets, you know, some selling pressure going on, it's gonna get some airspeed and drop to 108. I mean, not 108, 118. So I'm looking for a gap fill right here if it drops. So that's on a high alert to watch. That if it drops, it's going to drop fast to 118. So that's one area I'm really watching. And the other ones I'm watching are I ran 2 scans this morning, and one of them is a RSI divergence, bullish divergence scan, and the other one's a MACD. And the thing I want to point out is the left is the RSI and the right is the MACD. And you'll see that both scans have almost the same tickers on each one, except for maybe 1 or 2. And on the RSI of FSLR, TWLO, Now, PayPal, Facebook, Amazon, MAR, and IONS. And on the MACD, you have the FSLR, TWLO, and you have Now, you have PayPal, you have Facebook. See, on this one, you have Disney, and you didn't have it on the other one. So, but in Amazon's on here, MAR. So the only 2 discrepancies is Disney's on this one, and IONS is not. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but when you have a ticker on both scans, they're the ones to watch the most, in my opinion, because to me it's got a higher probability of a reversal. So we'll just look at the charts really quickly on these, and I'll show you the divergences and stuff like that. We'll start with like Facebook. I'm not going to go over all of them. I'll just go over just a couple. And you can see as Facebook's been selling off from 193 to 175, it's been downtrending. I mean, the thing I love about this is so clean. It's getting to the 20 EMA, which is the blue line, and when it gets to that, it gets rejected, it sells off hard. Then it'll pop up to it, then it will sell off hard. It'll pop to the 20 EMA and it will sell off. And I mean, the daily, it does have a head and shoulders, and you need to be alert of that because it's a potential play that could play out that way. but it's at the 200. It's below the 200 EMA. It likes to not stand there that long. As you can see over here, it went down below, then it popped up over. So it could potentially bounce right here. But it could also go down a lot further too. So this is something you have to really watch. But it is showing a divergence. You can see right here, the lower low of this candle and the lower low of this candle. And see, even though it's low, and the lower low is going lower. It's going higher on the MACD, even though the price action is going lower. So that means it's a possibility or a good potential that it's gonna reverse on you. But it can also drop on you because it's showing head and shoulders. You have two different scenarios that are showing up, and it does not have to do anything. It can do whatever it wants. You can't, just because it's showing a head and shoulders doesn't mean it has to drop. Just because it's showing a divergence doesn't mean it has to pop. It doesn't have to do anything. It will do what it wants to do. You just need to be aware of what can happen. And as you can see, I'll show you divergence right here. There's one from this candle low to this candle low. It showed an RSI divergence right here from this candle to this candle. You can see the RSI went up a little bit. And when it did, it popped. The same thing could happen from here to here. It could pop. And you need to be aware of over 180, this thing could go up. So you don't want to be completely bullish bias on this when it has a possibility of dumping too. So, and we'll look at Amazon. I'll make a video about divergences because that's something I really like to look at. And Amazon's hourly on the left. And it did the same thing. It gets up to the 200 EMA and dumps, gets up to over the 20, dumps, over the 50, dumps. It's been doing that. It's downtrending for the last week and a half. On the daily, it's below the 200 EMA. And, I guess you could say it's a head and shoulders. Yeah, the right shoulder is kind of weak, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It is there, and it is at a point where it could break down lower. But it's also showing a divergence. So if you look at this candle right here, this low and this low, the RSI is pretty much flat, but the MAC is rising. So over 1765 would be an area I'd be looking at. Over 1765 it could pop, and that's an area I would look at. But it could also drop because it's showing that head and shoulders, and it could drop a lot. It could drop down to 1600. But like I said, you need to be aware of the situation and what it's showing. You can see the head and shoulders on the weekly, and it could possibly if it does drop, it could drop down to the 100 EMA on the weekly, which is right on that 1611 area. But it does showing the divergence. If anything, I'm going to look long if it can get over those levels, over the 1765 area is where I'd be looking. And I know even though Disney was showing a divergence, I don't care about that. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm looking for the short side on that one. We'll look at FSLR, First Solar, I think that one's called. Yeah, First Solar. This one's dumped quite a bit. 65 to 57. It's dropped almost $10 already. And then on the daily, it's below the 200 EMA. That's a big drop. Two big long red candles. I won't be catching that knife. I'll be staying away from that. Even if it is a bullish divergence, I'm not interested. Look at that. You get two big red candles. This thing could go down even more. It could go down to 56. Yeah, I'm not touching that one. No, thank you. I'll go to now, I guess. See if that one looks better. Yeah, now it's hourly. It's going down. It's trending down. Another head and shoulders pattern at the 200 EMA. And let's see. Yeah. It's kind of rising a little bit, and it is making lower lows, and MACD is rising. Its RSI is rising. So be worth watching over 260. I mean, even over, if it can get over like the 252 area, that's an area I'd probably watch on now. So that's just my output of the week. But what I'm gonna be watching for the week, and mainly I'll be watching the earnings plays and probably Disney and the Facebook and Amazon. I don't think I've ever played Now, and I don't think I've ever played First Solar. So yeah, my main watches would be the earnings plays, which would be Costco, Pepsi, Bed Bath Beyond, Disney, Facebook, and Amazon. So those will be ones I'll be mainly watching. And don't forget to check out our Discord room if you haven't already, if you're not in there already. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks.